Welcome, everybody. It's time for Reclaiming America, and the three of us are back together again. This is Bill,
I'm Greta.
I'm Dan.
and we're here reclaiming America. Glad you joined
We're
us.
going to need to reclaim America because it's going down the shitter faster than a Taco
You
Bell
know,
dump
that's a
after
cliff, unfortunately. It's not a hill, it's a cliff.
what a. So I want to start with talk about a little event you might have heard of that might have happened earlier this week.
Or it might not have happened,
Attempt
fortunately.
number 2 on our former president, and I'm just going to say whiskey tango foxtrot because I don't know what else to say about it.
First of all, aside from the fact they did not properly vet the area and make sure that nobody was in the bushes, because that shot is almost a chip shot for anybody that knows how to shoot a weapon.
Pun,
Even if
pun
it,
intended.
uh,
You
what,
didn't
what
even know
bo-
you did that one.
was bothering me more than anything is he was not scheduled to play golf.
Yes,
So somebody, how did the guy know he was going to do it
right.
and knew the day before because he came out and he hung out for 9 hours, setting everything up. So how did this get
How
out
did,
if no one knew he was going to play?
that's the question I was going to bring up is I mean, I have to be honest, I think Secret Service did their job this time as far as the detail that's with Trump, right? Because they go out, even Trump was saying they go out a hole ahead, they're scouting, they found a guy, apparently shot at him. So again, the staff that's with Trump did their job. How the hell did this guy know to be there? Trump's flying all over the country running for election. How would he know that this? Because this was not a planned golf outing. This was a
And there's
last
more than
minute.
one golf course there.
Yeah. How did there's something is just not right in Denmark. I'm sorry.
Well, there, your turn.
I can think of a couple of ways. I mean,
Well,
somebody, of course, somebody at the Secret Service who knew the day before, by the way. Okay. I mean, I can think of a couple of ways. I don't think the Secret Service are a bunch of assassins, but I can't speak for their bosses. So,
Yeah, and
yeah, because the
Black House.
yeah,
yeah the people that are on duty or going with Trump are reporting up higher.
right.
So something has to be being leaked because this is number 2 now. There's been the ball's been dropped on both of them in different ways. Um,
Yeah,
and
but the basic again with basic, if you're going to clear the area, you walk through there, you inspect, you check it out.
hmm,
You once you determine that there's nothing going on there, you then secure it.
Yes.
Just because you're there today and it's clean doesn't mean that in 2 hours from
Right.
now there's not going to be a problem
well,
there.
and that's not a public course. So,
No,
how did this guy even get on the grounds? If Trump has a Secret Service detail and he's at Mar-a-Lago, whether he golfs is immaterial or not. It's near it. So, where's the protection? Understanding a golf course is huge. I get that. But there's drones, there's cameras they can put out. They can put a camera on trees on every hole and cover them. Where's the
look,
protection?
it's simple. If there's a wooded area within scope area of a reasonable shooter, you think maybe you should be checking that out and securing it,
Or a building,
or a building, or a roof.
within 150 feet or meters or whatever the heck it was. I'm blanking on it now. It's just, what scares me about it all, though, is, again, we, pun intended, dodged a bullet. Um, God forbid this guy had succeeded, or the last one.
I'm starting to believe that the hand of God is in this thing.
I'm not a religious person, but I can't disagree with you. Some divine intervention of some sort is going on.
Even higher than a county chair.
um, I- you know, we've talked about this many times. I fear for the future of this country. It's just escalating more and more because they're going to keep trying till they get them.
Well,
Whether it occurs prior to the election or after, they're going to keep trying till they get them.
on the news, and I was coming over here waiting for the Bongino show to start as we were driving, they were covering the fact that Secret Service is admitting to them being aware of 5 hit teams in the area looking for Trump, 3 of them foreign, 2 domestic.
So again, if they know about it, what are
For
they?
Homeland Security, not Secret
Oh,
Service, I'm sorry.
but they all work together. They're different agencies, but they all work together. Again, if they know about it and it's getting out publicly, why haven't they shut them down?
Got to find them first.
How do you not know where they are? Come on,
Oh,
Bill.
there's the question
We,
that doesn't require an answer.
I mean, we can find a pimple on the butt of a gnat using our satellites. Come on. The NSA records every goddamn thing we say in our phones. I mean, my wife and I were talking about something I have never searched on the internet for ever. Go online. I actually popped into Facebook. First thing pops up is an ad for the thing we were talking about. These things are listening to us 24/7 and reporting back. So if there's teams out there, every bit of traffic is, come on, they know where they are.
I don't think so, because I don't think they're capable of knowing where they are.
So I disagree. I think they
I'm
know.
confident.
I know. I think they know exactly where they are. They're just gonna let whatever happens happens. I'm going conspiracy theory. I mean, this is too much. I mean, they're gonna get them. I think it's
I
inevitable.
certainly hope not.
I hope to God not. And it's interesting to see some media people and some politicians saying we need to do something about this. I mean, I was watching Chris Cuomo of all people the other
Sure.
day, just going off about it. And I have to give him credit. I mean, he called out Secret Service. He called out Democrats. I mean, you could have picked me up off the floor listening to him because I was like, "You kidding me?" But he did it. He did what he should have been doing.
Well, I've been noticing, even speaking on a parallel of that, even CNN is starting to come out and question things. I mean, they went after the ABC and they came out with 75 things that Kamala said
Yeah,
wrong,
I saw that.
challenged on, and that was CNN. But I'm starting to think that they switched leadership
CNN did.
a while back, and I'm thinking that maybe the new guy wants to bring them back to where they once were,
No,
and
Bill.
he's
No, no,
not
no.
trying to be a newspaper reporter or
What the
whatever.
new guy wants is to actually make money because they're laying off people because all their advertisers have left. That's the reason they're doing it.
But to do it, they're gonna have to get back to center, center left, or center right. But they
Uh,
can't, they are, which is far left right now.
yeah, well, I think they've come back, not too much, but they have come back to the right. Um, and I did see the same reporting you did, but again, it's still not enough. Give Biden credit; he called it out. Like we have to get more security for Trump. But then you see Hakeem Jeffries on Twitter, literally within an hour after this all broke, puts up a post saying Donald Trump's a threat to democracy, or I'm paraphrasing it, but
And so is Clinton.
who's the freaking genius? Well, it's some intern sitting somewhere in D.C. who posted that. You think they might have gone, because that was probably scheduled to be posted, because I schedule posts on Twitter. You think some genius should have gone on there and said, hey, maybe this is not the best time to put that post up? Your boy Josh Stein did the same thing. His account had something calling out. I'm like, how is the Democratic Party being allowed to do this?
Well, because the only people that are doing misinformation are Republicans. Ask Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, well, yeah, as she calls Trump a dictator.
Well,
I mean, that's why I say it's become, to borrow a phrase from the left, systemic. Where you like our governor's race in North Carolina, they're running a commercial right now. Josh Stein is running a commercial calling Mark Robinson unfit, a danger to democracy, threatening, all this stuff. There are enough crazies out there that are going to say that, hear it, and say, I want to be the one that should have killed Hitler, so I'm going to go, kill Mark Robinson or Trump or Vance or.
now, let's be clear now. We are not saying that
We are
anybody.
not advocating for it. Absolutely. But I'm saying there are enough crazies out there. They hear this stuff and they get radicalized. And we have to call that out. And if we get banned for doing that, What does that say about social media?
Well, and the left has been radicalizing them for several years, haven't they?
I
Yeah, argument.
Go burn, go loot, do whatever you want, no cash bail,
Right,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
what, 600 attacks when Trump won, 600 burning issues around the country, and nobody got held accountable for it, including the attacks on federal buildings.
Nope. I think Dan's right. I'm not a great believer in coincidence.
there's too
Usually, it
much.
would be very, very odd for one guy that huge with that much security to get shot at twice within a month. It just,
With very
there-
similar circumstances too, by the way, right?
Yep,
A
yep.
sniper hidden fairly close by, definitely would have been in point blank range. This second one, had they gotten to the next hole. Um, Secret Service is not inept. I'm sorry, the agents are not. I firmly believe that. You might think I'm crazy. The leadership, that's a whole other ballgame. So something has to be going on. And again, it's conspiracy theory, I know, but what are we up to now? 58 no? Something like that on these?
Now we have most conspiracies left.
I mean,
They're all true. There's no conspiracies left.
what do you think happens, though, between now and the election with it? Do you think there'll be another attempt?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I do too. So 3 for 3, we believe it. How,
And I'm not
how
just
scary is that, though? Think about that. Three, I mean, we are not, though, that some people might say that, we're right wingers and that. We're really not, none of us. We may lean certain ways, but we're not the quote unquote radical right wingers. But we're sitting here going, yeah, it's going to happen. That's insane. Would you have thought that 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
No.
And yet here we are, almost like it's, yeah, cool, fait accompli, it's going to happen. That blows my mind that we've reached this point.
Now, let us speak again, clear. We're all agreeing that there will be probably another attempt. You're not being a successful attempt.
Bill, whether it's successful or not is immaterial to me in the sense that it's, if God forbid it's successful, then what happens? We're in a full blown civil war at that point because the radicals on both sides will lose their minds.
But there's only one side that's armed.
Not really, not now.
Apparently not.
The left is pretty armed now.
I don't think so at any great numbers.
You're dreaming, Bill. They are registering and getting weapons like you wouldn't believe right now.
They're against weapons.
New York State, I know. So, New York State, 10 people I know who were anti gun have gotten guns in the last few months.
Well, that doesn't make them on the left.
Oh, trust me, they're on the left. Because they fear what's going to happen. But they fear it's the right going to do it. So they're getting guns to protect themselves. And you guys know better than I do. It only takes one idiot pulling a trigger to start a war, literally. I mean, one guy started World War I, one assassination. History tends to repeat itself.
Yeah, well, that's going to be an issue. But I'm hoping that my man survives all this and gets into the White House, and then we can start making some changes.
Yeah, but it's going to be, he's relying on people that don't like him to protect him, meaning leadership.
Yeah, but he's also relying on the people around him that will do their job.
And they have.
And they are, and they have. Okay, it's strictly a matter of what planning may go on ahead that they have to deal with. But if they're going to beef up what they're talking about now is beefing up this group,
Yeah.
I think you're going to see things a little bit differently. He'll have maybe drones finally, which would be nice.
But again, Bill, why didn't that happen after the first attempt? Why do we have to have a second one to get to that point? Why did Biden say before this happened, we're going to go full bore? Why didn't they protect Kennedy Jr.? They denied him protection.
And still do.
Well, he's not running anymore, so I don't know if he still qualifies for it.
But he's still on a number of ballots.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but does that? I don't know the legalities on that.
He's like everybody else. He suspended his campaign. He didn't stop it.
Right, but does that entitle him to Secret Service protection still? I don't know because they're not.
No.
He wasn't entitled to begin with. Biden had to approve it. So and again, I don't know. But you look at somebody like him. You know he's gotten death threats. You look at we talk about Tulsi Gabbard. She's gotten them. All the ones that are standing by Trump. Nikki Haley even is getting them. She was.
They don't count my calls.
What's that?
They don't count my calls there.
You know who's next is the Green Party lady.
Oh, Stein?
Yeah, because
Jill Stein.
The Muslim votes go into her in like 6 states. We will not vote for Harris, and they're going to her. And we'll vote for a
That I hadn't heard.
Republican.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I read all about it last night. I was shocked. But you know, she's next, I imagine.
I wonder if she's getting any protection.
Again, that's a great question because I don't. I was just going to ask you. Do you know if she's got protection? I don't think
Not
she
that
does,
either.
but I don't know, and I don't want to speak out of turn about it. But I think really what this to me boils down to is the rhetoric the Democratic Party, the DNC, has been pushing at every level. Right? It's not just Trump Harris.
Oh, great.
It's Senate races, congressional House seats, governorships. Hell, I wouldn't be shocked if it's happening on city councils, school boards, and mayors, where they're
We're having similar rhetoric with our own people running for county commissioner.
okay. There you go. So that you're just confirming what I'm saying, right? Can you imagine that we've gotten to the point where one party thinks that it's okay to call someone who's running for city council or a county or whatever level, local level, a threat to democracy? Or, it just blows my mind that they think this is okay. And what's even blows my mind even more is the people that follow it within the
Well,
Democratic Party.
but as long as they can get away with it with media not calling them on it, they're going to do it.
Right. That's absolutely
Well, the media
right.
is culpable, right? But
But the media goes after Secret Service, but they will not call out the actions of the Democrats
Absolutely not.
because they're hypocrites.
and unfortunately, there's going to come a time somebody's going to get taken out. Whether it's Trump, Vance,
Right.
Robinson, whomever, pick a senator, whatever. Somebody is going to get taken out. Part of me thinks that that's exactly what the Democrats want because then they can go for more gun control. Because, you got DeLulu Harris sitting there in a debate going, we're not coming for your guns, yet 3 days later puts out a thing or was in the media saying, we got to ban assault weapons. Sorry, honey, the internet's forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody did a really nice YouTube video of her before the debate saying she was against them and going to ban guns. Then the debate where I'm not doing that. Then the thing from last Friday. But it's just, in the next segment we can talk about her flip flop.
Some of the clips with her on Oprah.
Oh my God.
God.
Well, let's save that for the next segment because that's a good thing to talk about.
The joy of the world.
Because we only got about a minute left in this one. So, final thoughts.
Final thoughts is President Trump's got a rough road to run, and hopefully the Secret Service will be beefed up enough to protect the man. I do have one question that I don't have an answer for. God forbid something happens to him. What happens to the candidate? Who becomes the candidate?
J.D.
Do not
Vance.
know that.
I was going to ask you. I would
Well,
assume it would.
works in the state. I'm not sure it works at the federal level.
Okay.
Well, wouldn't the party have to nominate somebody?
Yep.
Trump's name would still be on the ballot. It's too late to change it, but they would say vote for Trump.
For example, in state law, even if that person is dead or not there and you vote for him, that's automatically transferred to the new candidate.
Right.
Right.
So it would probably be Vance they would elevate, I would think. I can't think who else they would.
We'll just be in the same boat we've been in since Joe Biden took office. We'll have no leadership for another, we'll just fight it out for a few more years, right?
Just another rudderless run.
Yeah.
Just turn the ship loose, no rudder.
Just fall apart.
Mind-boggling. It just blows my mind. If you'd have asked me 40 years ago that we'd be sitting here like this, I would have bet my mortgage that you were insane. And yet
I
it's
could bet your mortgage too. just not mine.
Right, exactly.
So, all right. Well, it's a good time to throw it to break. So go ahead.
Shut down or?
Oh, you guys hang in there. We're going to be right back with Reclaiming America.
Welcome back to Reclaiming America, another discussion of what's wrong with America and how to fix it. And right now we have a new visitor, and Henry's here to tell us.
King
what-
Henry is back. Show
Henry
us
is
your
back.
show us your good side, Henry, not the side you're showing everybody.
Oh,
No, that's about it, Henry. We got to go.
Although he's covering Bill's face, 6 of one, half dozen of another. So there he is. There's our boy.
All right.
So
So what would you like to discuss this
what,
half?
you
sir?
were you just mentioned something while we were on break. What was I? My mind's blanking.
teens. You said something about teens. What was that?
King.
Teens.
T.
Okay, never mind.
All right, I'll throw out. Let's talk about Harris's flip flopping.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about Harris on the Oprah Winfrey show.
All right, go ahead. You go first.
If you caught that little love fest, all you were missing, and I'm going to tell you that I'm not a big fan of drugs, et cetera, but take yourself back to the 90s and 80s and 90s, and you're going there, and you got hurt, and Oprah going, feel the joy in the room. It's just bubbling over. Do you feel the joy? Yes, I feel the joy. All the people are happy. The joy is here. They're out of their minds.
You think? I mean, another billionaire coming out in support of Harris, who's against billionaires. Taylor
Who,
Swift.
by the way, is telling us it's all good, right?
It's. I didn't watch all of that. I watched bits and pieces that I saw. I wanted to vomit. I've seen this stuff from Taylor Swift. I mean, but this is the pathetic thing is there'll be a couple of million girls that are 18, 19, 20 that will vote for Harris just because Taylor Swift told them to, because they worship the ground she walks on. When you're talking about a race that could potentially come down to one state, Pennsylvania, if a couple thousand votes swing it because Taylor Swift or Oprah did it, what does that tell you?
306. That's the number of electoral votes Trump's pulling.
In some polls.
That's what he's pulling on election day.
That's your number you're going with?
306.
Now, let's don't forget about Allegheny County. They made a huge shift back to conservative, and they, like Philadelphia, carry the votes in Pennsylvania. And Philadelphia has a huge Muslim population who's saying they won't vote for Kamala Harris.
Nope.
There's it's
And a
complicated.
vote for Stein right now
is a vote
for
against
Trump.
right. A vote
Is
for
a vote for Trump.
right.
Yeah. So you're saying he's going to carry North Carolina, he's going to carry Pennsylvania.
I think he's got
and
Nevada.
Nevada was going to be the other one I was thinking of. Does that get him to 306? Just those three?
It'll get him close enough past.
And then we
East
throw
Beverly.
in the ones. Look, he's talking this morning about maybe New York's falling into play.
Well, the reason I'm going to disagree with your 306. I think it's too low.
Well, now that is digital.
Well, that is interesting.
Because
Let's
I've been, again, there's all these different pollsters out on the internet, and you got to take them all with a grain of salt. But what I like about them that's different than, say, NBC News is they're looking at state polling, not one national poll.
right.
They're all consistently saying the same thing in different ways, which is North Carolina is not in play presidential.
Yes,
not-
absolutely not.
Pennsylvania is, depending on which poll, anywhere from 5 to 7% for Trump. Now it's going to be higher at election day because the Republicans always poll lower than they actually do.
Yeah.
Michigan, Trump. Wisconsin, Trump.
Arizona.
Arizona, most of them have it flipped. They don't know yet. Nevada, Trump. So if he gets all them, and even if he doesn't get Arizona, he's above 306. And I do think it's legitimately possible because, again, we've talked about this before. Republicans always poll lower than they actually get in elections.
That's true.
I do think New York. I, it's a slim chance. I'll put it at 10%, but I think he's got a shot in New York.
Well, actually, I'm not looking for him to win the state. I'm looking for him to pull enough votes so that we can actually win the majority regardless of the electoral.
I think New York's going to be very interesting because upstate is always red anyway. Long Island pretty much is. I think enough disaffection has happened in New York City. So New York City, Albany, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse carry the Democrats.
Right now, Westchester's gone red, gone
Go
blue.
right now, but I'm thinking it's starting to switch because they're seeing what's going on. I'm not saying he's going to win all those, but I think he could get enough votes in all of those areas, plus what he is going to get in the normal red zones to take New York. I'll put it at 10, maybe 15% shot.
It's better than anybody
But
ever
who'd have
thought.
thought we would have ever talked about that? I would
Yeah,
not be.
again, I just like him to pull enough votes so that in spite of winning the electoral college, he also wins the popular vote and shuts their mouths.
I don't think that's going to happen because they're going to play games to make sure it doesn't happen.
Someone was saying that they anticipate on an average election 1.5% to 2% fraud.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why you need to win by 4, 5, or 6% to cover that.
You think Trump's
So
got enough to cover that much? Four or
I
five?
think,
I do.
look at the Teamsters. I mean, that was the biggest joke of the week.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
cracking up. So they
God.
they aren't gonna claim or endorse anyone. That means they're endorsing Trump.
Right. The fact that their membership rates 2 to 1 for Trump, we're not going to endorse anyone here because we can't find anybody that is pro-union. But for the first time since 1996, they have not endorsed a Democrat.
Did you see Trump thank them for their endorsement? I was cracking up. I'm like, you sly bastard, you.
I
But
think it's this whole point though, isn't it? A vote, you don't necessarily have to vote for me, just don't vote for her.
Right.
yeah,
For both.
He's got a base. He's got a
Yeah.
huge base.
but here,
So in Allegheny, in Michigan, Teamsters, whatever, just don't vote
And
for
it's
her.
not a Republican base. It's a fusion base, if you will, populist
It
base.
is.
Mhm.
It is.
It draws from every
A
area.
lot of unaffiliated.
well, when
too.
you look at the Teamsters, and he won their populist election quite handily.
He did.
Better than
Um,
two.
and how, I don't know if sad is the right word or scary or what is it that despite that their leadership said no, we're not going to come out and endorse them. What does that tell you about unions, by the way? Right, the people in the unions have no say, none. Unions have become a scam.
Have enough say that the leadership realized they can't do what they want to do, so they better go neutral to keep their jobs.
If it's 2 to 1 saying we want Trump, that going neutral is telling your constituents "f you," as far as I'm concerned, and I would bet a lot of them think that way. And I have a feeling it might actually turn off some of the ones that didn't support Trump. Right? Wait a minute, I voted for Biden, but everybody else said Trump, and we're not doing that. I mean, come on, it's
If we agree that all elections are basically run on the wallet, on
oh
your
without
economy,
yeah.
the Teamsters, as long as those union bosses deliver good contracts, they can overlook the fact that they want neutral.
Well,
Because of the
they
fact-
haven't been doing too well with those lately. Just like the auto workers, they went on strike about a year ago and got all these big wins, and now they're all losing their jobs.
Yep.
Well, look at what's happening now with the ports shutting down on the first.
There's another one, right?
And Biden's already said today he's not interfering.
Okay. Bayonne, right?
He's not doing
Good
anybody.
luck.
Yeah, I mean,
Now I have
it's
to laugh because they're talking about, somebody on Fox was talking about, and let's talk about what you're going to stop receiving. You're not going to get any more cars. You're not going to get any more bulldozers. I'm thinking to
Machine
myself,
parts.
damn it, I was just
Yeah.
looking for a bulldozer. The other
Yeah,
day.
I was.
And
too.
now I'm not going to be able to buy one. Yeah, I don't know.
and car sales have tanked so bad. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but they were showing video not too long ago on one of the newses of forget the dealer lots; those are all full. But they were showing Dodge, Stellantis, I think is the parent company.
Yes.
The factory around it. There's literally not a parking space available for another new car.
It's crazy.
And they're all electric, too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if all, but a good number of them. But
High percentage
you
now.
know, it's just you sit there and you go, wow. And so what if we don't get cars from overseas? Who cares? There's plenty sitting there. They just got to lower their prices, which they can't do because they spent all this money to make them.
I'm gonna warn you now, because what you're gonna see happening in about 3 to 5 days is a run on paper and a run on everything again. They're gonna be emptying the shelves because nothing can come in.
So you telling me I better get to Costco later on?
I'm telling you, well, I'll be either that or when you go the next time, you'll save a lot of money because there'll be nothing to buy.
I already did the Costco
Yeah,
thing.
I trust me. I have more than enough supplies to get by.
Yeah. I
My
can
wife
hold.
showed up with a lifetime supply of tissues
Yep.
yesterday and on and on towels, paper towels and toilet tissue. I mean,
Coffee.
I'm
Gotta have
good,
coffee.
I figure I'm pretty well decent, if I live to about 84, the next time I have to buy something.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm in good shape too. But we're the smart ones. There's a lot of people that aren't, and you're right. There's going to be things. There's going to be runs on, and
Let's go now.
again though, that's going to create division.
Yes.
And all we need is one spark, and this powder keg goes up. It's you look at things like that. You look at how they're playing games with the interest rates now. We can't lower interest rates. We can't lower them. We can't lower them. 40 days before the election, massive lower. 0.5% is a huge drop.
0.5%.
Yeah, that's a huge drop.
It's massive and
Not
it's
only that,
dangerous.
gas is hit 286 and
Right.
270
Yeah.
something.
Oh, it's got nothing to do with the election though.
Our reserves are down to nothing.
The fix is it. Everybody, but everybody knows it now.
And
Here's the
that's
problem.
that's a good point, Greta, right
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Everybody knows that the minute she gets in office, it's going to go flying right back up. And let me ask you something, Dan. How do you feel about what's going on in Maine?
I don't know what to
It's
say.
getting interesting, isn't it?
It's
Golden's getting his butt kicked. His opponent, the Republican, is winning. And the Maine voters are saying, I'm not voting for her. I'm not voting for
yeah,
Joe Biden. Look what he did to us.
yeah.
Who are they going to vote for? I really don't care as long as they don't vote for her.
Well, I mean, it's not just Maine though. You're seeing it in California.
Washington State.
I mean, the only thing I mean, California's not in play, but I think it's going to be a lot closer there than we've ever seen since what 92, 88,
But
somewhere in there.
we're still
The
fleeing.
only place I could see where it'll be the way it's been for the last few elections is D.C. That'll still be 90% Democrat vote. Other
And
than
so
that,
Yeah.
what'd you say, Bill?
Chicago will be the same way.
I don't know about that. See, again, I'm going to disagree with you because
Brandon Shelton stays the same.
they going after the mayor there like crazy over
Yeah,
the
they are.
immigration.
Well, they're going after the mayor in New York too.
Yeah.
Well, the fact he's got Chinese spies working for him, much like the governor.
Picky, picky, picky.
Testing.
But I think I don't think Chicago's voting for Trump, say, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a swing there, and it could go to the total overall vote count could go to Trump because of stuff like that. But I think people, like you said, Greta, people have figured out this is all bullshit.
As Greta says, if you're a Trump person,
You're done.
you pick up it's someone switching to your side is a 2 vote swing. But just getting him not to vote at all is still a
It's
one
still a
vote
vote,
swing.
yeah.
Right. You're still getting a plus out of it.
You know what? I do know this. In order to fill the Nassau Coliseum that quickly, you have to be Billy Joel pretty much, right? Okay. Just say it.
That's pretty good way to put. So I mean, looking at the numbers from 2020, it was somewhere around 150 million votes, right? 80 and 74.
Right.
Let's call it 155. You think it'll be lower this time?
Oh no.
So that means enough people are going to switch to Trump, as opposed to
I
not vote.
I think you're gonna see Trump, if 80 million was his last number, I think you're gonna be above that. And I'm not gonna predict how much.
Well, Biden
It's
had 81, Trump had 74, 75, something like that.
I think Trump will break 80 without trying hard.
How
the
much?
conservatives are showing up to volunteer for the Republican Party.
Yeah.
They're unaffiliated.
What do you think happens with Harris? How many do you think she gets? Biden got 81, again, supposedly.
I don't believe the media's numbers. Oh, she's getting the black vote. She's getting this, and
Oh, the black vote? Oh my God.
I don't believe.
Black men are down to 50%. They were polling black men. 50% are now considering or saying they're not going to vote for her. They may not vote for Trump. 50%. Who would have ever thought that?
But now the media yesterday is saying, well, actually, the truth is 65% of black men will vote for her. See, I don't believe it. I don't
Well,
believe
the
it.
numbers are all over the place, but
Right.
it's supposed to be 90%. That's the key point.
True.
If they're saying 65,
5% from them.
Trump
or
wins.
5% from the Hispanic side of the house.
And the unaffiliated.
And we don't even talk about the Hispanic. They are up in arms.
Yeah, they are.
They hate Harris.
Yep.
So it's the reason I was asking total votes. I think Trump could get around 80. I agree with you there. I'm wondering if Harris can even pull 70. I could see where a good 10% of Democrats choose not to vote. Because there's those ones that I'll never vote for Trump. I just won't vote. Or
Right.
they may vote local or state. I would not be shocked to see it go where Harris only gets 65 to 70, somewhere in there. By the
I
way,
think it's low because you still got that 1 to 2% fraud.
I would also say I wouldn't be surprised if she pulled 90 million, because those dead people have to vote 3 and 4 times, and they will.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but 2016, Hillary Clinton turned off so many women in this country, it was ridiculous. And now Kamala is using her playbook.
Oh,
I'm just saying,
all you got
she's
to
a favorite for women.
all you got to do, Greta, is listen to my wife. Oh my God, who is non-political, does not get involved in politics, hates it, despises her.
But she was raised a middle class
Oh,
child.
okay.
She's got, you can watch her talking points get repeated over and over again. And I'm like, oh my God, another empty suit,
And
another.
15 different accents depending on where she is. I
And
mean,
she'll never get over it, by the way. She'd be like Hillary forever.
so let me ask you this, Greta, because I've been seeing the same things you have. Do you think she's turning off enough of the liberal white suburban single
Women.
mom base that
Yep.
really?
Add it all
You
together.
think so? Okay.
It's a percent of the Jewish community.
Hmm.
It's a percent of the parents that don't like their children mutilated without their
Right.
full consent, right?
Agreed.
They don't like that their kids are not learning anything in public schools. There's a percent and a percent and a percent. And frankly, she didn't have that good of a deal coming in. She got a bump because she wasn't Joe Biden.
Right.
That is
Yeah.
not a recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not a recommendation. Yeah, I do. I think
That's interesting.
this could be a massive pull off for Trump.
Again, I'm
We'll see.
going by my wife. She is as non-political as they are, and she's. I can't use the word she uses because we'd get banned. And I've heard it from others like her, non-political. They vote, but if you ask my wife, give me 10 bullet points about each candidate or the election, she couldn't give you one, right?
Do
But
you know how many women of color in this country have worked hard, gone to school, climbed corporate ladders, climbed the military ladder, climbed the government ladder? This is not what they planned on at
yeah,
all. Okay.
it's blowing my mind.
And the fact that she puts herself off as a model.
And they keep adding more government employees. Isn't that what we all want? No. Okay.
And on that note, it's time to go to break, kids. So take it away, somebody.
Well, you know what? We're having such a good time. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Reclaiming America. As we go to our final segment for the week, we're going to now zero in on dirty politics in North Carolina. And for those of you who are not aware of it, we have a black lieutenant governor named Robinson who's running to become the governor against Josh Stein, who is the Attorney General extraordinaire, and I mean extraordinaire because the way he screws things up is extraordinary. Uh,
I was gonna say, careful how you're putting that.
okay, and they're in a race, and Stein is probably the king of dirty politics. He was actually been convicted the last time he ran, and for attorney general of putting lies out against his opponent, and was found guilty. No big deal, it's not this, but guilty. Right now, he's put out a bunch of stuff against Robinson, claiming statements that he made, including the fact that Robinson at one point said he would love to own slaves.
Well, that
Think about
CNN put that out. Stein himself didn't put that out. CNN put that out. Now he hasn't disavowed it. Stein is all over it, but we have to be fair and say that's CNN saying that. That's not to absolve Stein because he is playing the dirty. We were talking off air. This is the dirtiest campaign I've ever seen someone run, and I come from New York. Okay, um, the stuff that they're putting out there.
Robinson, to his credit, yesterday everybody was wondering what was going to happen because yesterday was the last day he could quote resign from running or withdraw from running,
Right.
and he decided to stick it out and tell it his family
And
get
I'm
the hell.
glad he did.
And he's denied it categorically. The state party has come out and supported him completely. So at this particular point, the dirty tricks are out there. They're going to happen, but Robinson's running for whatever it's worth to be the governor. And I think just by these dirty tricks, he deserves it.
Well, this is a microcosm of what the Democratic Party is doing to Republican candidates across the board. That's we kind of talked about that already, but they have called him unfit. I mean, it's the same rhetoric over. They never talk about issues ever in their commercials.
They can't.
Again, they're running on smearing him personally, so he's
They're
unfit. I mean,
They're trying to
they
turn to a
in a matter of speaking, when you look at them calling him unfit, they don't just mean to run the governor. They're talking about his weight because he's not a small man. You could say it, right? It's that obvious. This level of dirt that Stein is doing is mind-boggling. And then he is flat out lying in commercials. Sitting there, I support closing the border. Are you freaking kidding me? But see, he was smart. He didn't say it. He had a sheriff say it for him.
Yep.
Right? So he
That's
is
true.
adamant about keeping the border open. Who is he kidding?
100.
He does.
Yeah, he did. They found the 3 sheriffs that supported him. The other 97, but put that out there. That's a blatant lie. And again, if you're attacking someone on policies, I'm fine with it. But when you get to the level where it's not just Stein, it's the PACs that are supporting him, it's the DNC all the way down, at every level there. It's openly racist against him. And I just sit here and go, are people really that stupid? And more precisely, do the Democrats really think their followers are that stupid?
Well, you got to understand that he is the closest threat we have right now to take this job. And they need to make sure they keep the governorship because if we can get a supermajority again, and if we happen to pull off getting the attorney general, this place can really fly. This skate can really take off. And it's done a great job of flying right now, but we're talking stratosphere if we can get those things
I
done.
would like that extra Supreme Court seat.
It Again, it goes back to what we talked about in the first segment. My fear is that this rhetoric is going to create violence against these candidates. And I look at what they're claiming Robinson did. Was it 15 years ago or so? On some porn site. Okay, one, let's actually see the data, not what you're posting on a screen, which are nothing more than screen grabs, okay? Do you know how easily it is to manufacture something like that? I could do it in
With
about
AI,
5 minutes.
they can say you were there.
But even if he did say what he said 15 years ago, do I really care that much right now? I don't.
There's an old line, it's not what the man was, it's what the man is.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, he claimed to be a black Nazi. Okay.
About it.
Well, even if he did, though, I'm saying,
Claimed to have slaves. At one point, they claimed that when in the very beginning, when he ran for lieutenant governor, he was a member of the KKK.
Yeah, he wanted to bring back slavery. I'm like, one, I don't think there's a black man in the United States that would ever say something like that.
Never.
I just, nor should anyone for that matter. I don't care what color you are, right? But just for the sake of argument, let's say he did 15 years ago. I hate to tell you, I did some stupid shit when I was younger. It's just not easily found because there was no internet, right?
Right.
If they wanted to get dirt on me, trust me, there's dirt. Okay? Back in the 80s, I was not the nice boy I am now, okay? But
always been-
I wasn't going around calling myself a Nazi, just for the record, by the way. But, it's when I see stuff like that, and I see this race, and God forbid Stein wins. Because if he's willing to do this publicly to someone, what would he do privately to people who has come out and said that anyone who doesn't vote for him he considers dangerous?
That's why, as a backup plan, supermajorities and the attorney general will have to be Republican as a backup plan in case, whatever reason, we don't win the governorship.
But again, it plays out all over. It's not just North Carolina with this stuff. This is why people need to vote down ballot. Those elections are more important.
Vote early,
And vote
and
often.
vote the entire ballot.
And vote often.
No, we are not Democrats. We do not vote. Vote early, and vote the entire ballot. I am suggesting to people, flip the ballot over and start at the lowest position and work to the top.
Yeah.
That's not a bad way to put it, Bill. I make sure I vote for everything. Sometimes it's tough to read some of them, but because they put the proposal amendments and stuff on the back in the very smallest print. I have a hard time reading them, but
Speaking of that, there is one amendment on this ballot,
There is.
and that amendment basically says you have to be a US citizen to vote.
okay.
You already have to be.
How do we have to do that? How do we have to have an amendment to do that? Are we effing kidding me?
No, that's an amendment that's going on to our Constitution. They tried it at the federal level, and the Democrats shot it down. But I'll give you something better, way off target. Do you know that Nancy Mace put a bill out that was just passed the House? Every Republican voted for it, 150.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going.
voted against it, and all it was, it said that anybody convicted of sexual predatory toward children need to be deported.
Women and children.
Women and children.
Women and children.
Deported.
Absolutely.
And 150 Democrats voted against that measure.
So much for supporting women's rights.
I wonder where now we'll be on that.
They're not going to say a word. They should be screaming, but they won't. You look at stuff like that, and I'm like, and kudos to them, to the leaders in congressional leadership for putting them on the spot and making them do that. They should have been doing this for the last 15 years.
But kudos to Nancy Mace for putting it on the table and
Yeah.
getting it out.
But it's, when think about this for a second. We have to have an amendment to say you have to be a citizen to vote. That's absurd to me. Okay, I want to vote in, I don't know, Zimbabwe's election. I should be
because
able.
at the state level, it's more enforceable.
I
if it
understand
is
that, but
state level. Okay.
if we have to have a point where we're even having a discussion,
You got to remember, though, there are 3 levels of voting. Federal elections have slightly different rules than
I
state
understand
elections,
that.
which have different than municipals, which is why they tried in New York City to give non-citizens the right to vote, and that was taken to court and lost.
Right.
And that's why it has to be done at all levels.
So why doesn't the Republican Party file suit in California saying, okay, if you're going to allow illegal aliens to vote, because California wants to allow that, then you should allow the citizens of North Carolina to vote also. They have more standing than an illegal alien to vote in California. At least they're U.S. citizens. There's your argument.
You can't get involved with states' rights like that. That doesn't split the court.
You get my point, don't you?
But the point of the matter is you have to do state by state.
I understand that. But if that's what I'd be going to Gavin Newsom going, all right, you want to let the people that don't live, that are not citizens of this country vote, then you need to allow citizens of this country that don't live in your state to also have a say in your vote. It's the next logical step. Why should I not be able to vote in California?
These non-citizens live in my state,
That's what they claim.
and they need to, because they're gonna lose, in the census coming in 2030, they're gonna lose a lot of
Well,
seats that they find all
you know,
these people.
one of the fears that I have, this will be real conspiracy theory. These illegals, use New York City as an example. They send them. They have no quote unquote address. You have them vote in New York City. You drive them across the George Washington Bridge. Now you got them voting in New Jersey. Then you send them over to Connecticut. That means they got 3 different votes in 3 different states, and they traveled less than an hour. What's to stop that?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one talked about. I'm going to take credit for that one. Then they'll probably do it.
Looking for us, 2 of us are free.
You know,
We'll defend you.
but
Maybe.
what's this, if you're going to get to that level? They don't want voter ID. New York State does not have voter ID.
Nope.
I don't believe Jersey does. I don't believe Connecticut does. They could literally just
I don't
bust.
know about Ruby.
They could bust them around for those, you know, the metropolitan area, those 3 states, which are minutes apart, unaccounting for traffic.
I don't want to say anything, but Amazon's been listening, and all of a sudden they're renting buses now in New York. I don't want to mention anything if you did this, but
Amazon wouldn't do something like that, Bill. Come on.
Alexa
They're
wouldn't do that,
billionaires. They support the Republicans.
except for the ones that do the
Other than
Democrats.
Elon Musk, I want you to name me one billionaire that supports the Republicans. Now, because I can give you about 24 that support Democrats.
And I'll give you another billionaire, Trump.
All right, so you got Trump. Go ahead.
Kraft,
2,
Musk.
3.
I got a couple of more swirling around here. When they pop up, their names.
So whatever the names, 4 or 5. Now, Oprah, Taylor Swift, Soros. I could just keep going and going and
What they
going.
do is
Mark
go through the
Cuban.
industry, and you grab them out of there. Hey, if they're a billionaire, they're supporting Harris. If they're less than that, they're probably a Trumper.
I'm telling you, the Democratic Party is the
Wait
party
for
of the
me.
billionaires, and anybody who says otherwise is fooling themselves. And on that note, kids, it's time to wrap things up.
Is it that time?
We're actually a
already?
minute over.
Oh no!
Oh no, here we go.
What? Follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Just do this. They're all up above our heads.
Go this way.
Go that way, just vote those things up there.
YouTube. We'd love to have you.
All right, wrap it up, kids.
It's time to shut down again. People, we had an enlightening discussion. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you want to come back and listen to us next week. And until that time, Reclaiming America says thank you and stay tuned.
Bye, everybody.